Hello friends, I would like to welcome you to this tutorial of SQL for data analysis in PostgreSQL. Before starting this course that is a SQL application for data analysis, I would like to recommend you my playlist for SQL Server 2019 for beginners when I made an introduction for SQL programming language. So this playlist for data analysis in PostgreSQL is the continuation of SQL Server 2019 for beginners. Here is the link that you can click to go to that course. Then let's get started. In this video, we are going to start doing some example of SQL Joins. That is one of the most important and powerful features of SQL language. SQL has the possibility of working with data across multiple tables at the same time. That is the advantages of relational databases. They can relate to one another. For example, the identifiers like primary key and foreign key allow combining different information between tables. Then, the SQL joins have the power of linking tables together. The common form of join is the SQL inner join. It's the default SQL join you get when you use the join keyword only. The result of the SQL inner join includes rows from both tables where the join conditions are met. Here is the Venn diagram representation of inner join. In logic, this is what is called an intersection. And here is what basically inner join command looks like. We use the on clause to specify the condition. For example, here the condition is the ID that will be foreign key and the ID in the table B that will be the primary key. So this statement returns all the rows, that is the meaning of asterisk, mean all, from the table A, inner join, table B, on this condition is met. Let's see an example. We had the table orders and the table customer. With this statement, we want to select three columns, that is, in this case, order ID for the table orders, customer name for the customer table, and the price from the orders table. From orders, inner join customer, the on clause, and then the conditional statement that in this case will be the customer ID. So in this case, the customer ID that we find in orders is the foreign key. So the customer ID from customer is the primary key for this table. Where this condition is met, we obtain this result, that is the three columns that match with this condition. To understand better this concept, let's go and see here in this example in yellow, we can see clearly what are the IDs in the column customer ID that match with the ID of the table customer. That is also a customer ID. This is the primary key, and the only IDs that match with these two IDs are, in the case of the foreign key, these three rows of this column. Then this condition will return the result of these values. As you can see here, these values match with the customer ID. That is, in this case, for the foreign key, 2, 2, and 1. In the case of the primary key, The ID1 has a name, Mario, and the ID2 has a name, Louis. This is how the inner join returns this result. The order ID was made by Louis at this price. So Louis also made another order with this price, that is 278. And in the case of Mario, that is in this case, Mario has the ID1 matched with the order ID 1010 and has the price 378. As you can see, this is the result. Now, let's go and see an example of this in PostgreSQL. So guys, first, let's go and create a database. Right-click on database and select create, then select database, and we're gonna use, for this example, the name company. Click save, and here is our new database. Now, click here on Query Tool to open the query editor. Do not waste too much time copying this script for a moment. To create the orders and customer tables and its relationship, that in this case will be the foreign key for customer ID in the table orders that have a reference to the ID for customer table. Also, guys, you can find this script in the link below, and in that way you can obtain this code for this tutorial. If you want this code, just click in the link below. Now, click on this button for the execution. Query returned successfully. So to verify these two tables, let's go to the left and drop down company, and here in schemas, drop down, look for tables and drop down. Right click on tables and click refresh. Drop down, and as you can see here, we have our new tables created. Now let's go to make some insertions to these tables. Just copy these insertions. Also, you can find this code in the link below on the description of this tutorial. Go to this button and click execute. Query returned successfully. So to verify this, let's go to customer table in the left here and right click, select view or edit data and click all rows. Here you can see the customer table. Let's do the same for orders. Click all rows. The data for the table orders is there. Now, let's go to do our first inner join. Find the query tool button, as you can see here, and click. In the query editor, write, select order ID, comma, customer name, and price. In this way, we can only display the columns order ID from the order table and the customer name from customer table and the price for that specific order ID. Then let's go to write the inner join. That is the intersection between the table, customer, and orders. From orders, inner join, customer. And finally, our condition for that intersection. Write on clause to specify the join condition. And for the join condition, we are going to use the foreign key in orders, that is customer ID, equal, let's put customer table that ID, that is the primary key in customer, semicolon at the end, and go to this button for execution. So I forget to put the O in customer. Click here to execute. And you can see here the order ID, the customer name, and the price is the information we obtain with the intersection of both tables, orders, and customer, using the foreign key, that is the customer ID and the ID of the customer table. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to perform some calculations for analysis using the price. So see you in the next video.